And if I can't fight for them coming up behind me, then what the am I doing? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, don't apologize.
Taraji P. Henson's emotional confession in late 2023 sent shockwaves through Hollywood, unraveling a story far bigger than anyone expected. What began as a moment of vulnerability quickly became a cultural reckoning, forcing the entertainment world to confront long-standing questions about power, silence, and the treatment of Black women in the industry. During a SiriusXM interview meant to promote The Color Purple, Taraji broke down in tears, revealing how exhausted she was from being undervalued. Her voice trembled as she said she was tired of working hard, delivering excellence, remaining professional, and still being paid a fraction of what she deserved. Millions felt the weight of her words, and the clip spread rapidly, igniting intense discussions online about equal pay, respect, and the emotional burden carried by Black women in Hollywood. The twist came when people connected Taraji's emotional breakdown to the very film she was promoting and, more importantly, to one of its producers, Oprah Winfrey. According to insiders, Taraji had been dealing with issues on set for months, from inadequate trailers to transportation concerns, but allegedly nothing changed until her tearful interview went.
You get tired. I hear people go, "You work a lot."
Yeah.
Well, have to. The math ain't mathing.
Viral. Once the public rallied behind Taraji, things improved overnight. Better trailers, better meals, better treatment. This sudden shift raised a troubling question if Oprah could fix everything in a day. Why didn't she intervene before Taraji reached a breaking point? Taraji later said she felt it was her obligation to express how she truly felt to Oprah, a statement that shocked many and hinted at the quiet power dynamics behind the scenes. If an actress as successful and beloved as Taraji still struggled to be heard, what did that say about the system? Naturally, the moment reopened an old wound that had never fully healed, Monique's long-standing battle with the same Hollywood circle. After her Oscar-winning performance in Precious, Monique refused to promote the film for free, setting back.
So it was my obligation to let Oprah Winfrey know how I really.
Boundaries she believed were reasonable, but instead of being respected, she said she was punished. Her calls stopped being returned, roles vanished, and she claimed Oprah, Tyler Perry, and Lee Daniels led a whisper campaign that branded her as difficult. The betrayal she felt intensified when Oprah invited Monique's estranged family, including the man who abused her as a child, onto her talk show without her consent. To Monique, this was not just disrespect. It was a violation of trust and an abuse of influence. Over the years, she maintained that her blacklisting was no accident, insisting she had receipts to prove how her reputation was damaged from behind closed doors. So when Taraji cried publicly in 2023, Monique felt deep pain, not vindication. She said the tears hit her hard because she had tried to warn Taraji years earlier that the system rarely rewards Black women for setting boundaries. Appearing on Shannon Sharpe's podcast, Monique revealed she once told Taraji, "Most of us don't live long enough for our turn to come. We have to ask for it right now." When Taraji later said Oprah handled it, Monique responded sharply that such framing allowed Oprah to continue the same behavior unchallenged. Her message was direct.
Oprah Winfrey called us up, and she said my brother wanted to.
The issue was not a misunderstanding, but a pattern. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, 50 Cent entered the conversation like a storm. Known for his bluntness and refusal to bow to Hollywood politics, the rapper-turned-producer publicly offered Taraji a job at his G-Unit film and TV banner, saying, "They dropped the ball. I'm ready to work. Let's get it." This was not a simple job offer. It was a challenge to Oprah's influence. 50 had already put his money where his mouth was by hiring Monique for his hit series BMF after criticizing Oprah and Tyler Perry for the way they reportedly treated.
And then we said, "But did you pay her fairly?" And then he said, "I paid her more than she's ever made."
her. He positioned himself as an outsider willing to fight for the voices Hollywood had ignored, turning his support into both a personal mission and a symbolic act of rebellion. Oprah, meanwhile, attempted to defend herself during the Golden Globes. She insisted she had been the greatest champion of the color purple and said she fixed whatever Taraji needed as soon as she learned about the issues. But Monique swiftly fired back with one devastating line: "If you had the power to fix it later, then you had the power to prevent it." That single sentence reframed the narrative entirely and made many question whether Oprah's interventions were motivated by compassion or by public pressure. It suggested that the issue wasn't a matter of Oprah stepping in late, it was a matter of her choosing not to step in until the situation threatened her image. As the controversy grew, stories from other celebrities who had felt blindsided by Oprah resurfaced. Tony Braxton once said Oprah embarrassed her on television when discussing her financial struggles. Ludacris claimed his interview was edited to make him seem irresponsible. Supporters of Dave Chappelle still remember how Oprah's interviews helped shape the narrative that he was unstable when he walked away from his contract, rather than acknowledging his concerns about exploitation. These stories, spanning decades, painted a picture that many found hard to ignore when celebrities, especially Black celebrities, challenge the system. Oprah sometimes positions herself not as an ally, but as an enforcer. Hollywood insiders have long whispered about Oprah's influence, and not just publicly. Her approval can launch a career. Her silence can stall one. No one accuses her of outright blacklisting, yet her absence or disapproval can speak louder than explicit actions. When Oprah walks into a room, people shift their posture. When she chooses not to show up, that absence is noticed too. This quiet power, according to those who have worked closely with her, can determine who rises and who fades. That's what made Taraji's emotional confession so unsettling. If someone of her caliber and success still struggled for fair treatment, what did that say about actresses with less fame or leverage? Monique worsened the controversy by revealing that she had once been in talks to portray key roles Gloria Gaynor in The Butler and Richard Pryor's grandmother in his biopic roles that eventually went to Oprah herself. To Monique's supporters, this was not mere coincidence, but evidence of something deeper. Imagine believing your reputation was damaged by someone more powerful, only to watch that same person take a role you were originally approached for. Whether intentional or not, the optics were troubling. Taraji's own actions highlighted the systemic issues. After Empire ended, despite playing the iconic Cookie Lion, she realized her team had not secured deals that reflected her star power. She said the math didn't add up and fired her entire team. Her situation mirrored Monique's and confirmed what many Black actresses have quietly endured: delivering excellence without receiving the respect, compensation, or opportunities.
You have a couple of pets as well,
Yeah.
a dog and a cat with interesting names, to say the least.
Yeah. That's Oprah.
That's Oprah. Okay.
That match their talent. Monique's 2019 lawsuit against Netflix added another layer to the growing narrative. She was offered only $500,000 for a comedy special, while Amy Schumer received a reported $11 million. Monique called this a clear example of paid discrimination. Yet, during her fight, Oprah, known worldwide as a champion of women's empowerment, remained publicly silent. Many people found this silence confusing, even disappointing. If Oprah's empire is built on uplifting women, why didn't she publicly support one fighting for fairness? The tension lies in the contradiction between Oprah's public persona and these repeated stories from Black artists who felt mistreated or misunderstood by her. Oprah's brand is rooted in empowerment, healing, and giving marginalized people a platform. But these women describe a different reality, one where speaking up leads to punishment, where boundaries lead to backlash, and where silence seems demanded rather than encouraged. The contradiction is too significant to ignore. The woman who built her legacy on vulnerability seems to struggle when others express vulnerability toward her. The woman who preaches authenticity allegedly punishes dissent. The woman who calls for grace and forgiveness reportedly holds quiet grudges. As more people begin speaking openly, a sense of reckoning is building. Insiders hint that there were behind-the-scenes tensions during The Color Purple that have not yet come to light: text messages, emails, and private conversations that could shed more light on what really happened. If these details emerge, the fallout could reshape the industry and challenge Hollywood's long-standing power structures. For the first time in a long time, people are not just questioning Oprah's judgment. They are questioning her influence, her image, and the system she represents. Taraji and Monique, two women from different eras of Hollywood, have become unexpected allies in a much larger battle. Taraji's emotional confession and Monique's decade-long resistance reveal the same truth: the system has not changed as much as Hollywood pretends it has. One woman was punished for speaking too soon, and the other was applauded for speaking too late. Both experienced the price of defiance. Their stories suggest that Hollywood still rewards obedience and punishes those who dare to challenge the status quo. This moment has left fans asking whether we are witnessing genuine accountability or just another temporary controversy that will fade when the next headline appears. But something feels different this time. Social media has amplified voices that were once easily silenced. The public is paying attention, challenging narratives, questioning power, and refusing to accept polished PR answers. Oprah's once unshakable image now shows visible cracks, not because of one scandal, but because of a pattern that is becoming harder to deny. What this moment ultimately reveals is a deeper question than whether Oprah betrayed Taraji or Monique. It raises doubts about whether Hollywood has ever allowed outspoken Black women to rise without punishment. Perhaps the real issue is not Oprah alone, but the larger system that rewards those who stay quiet and marginalizes those who don't. And maybe the most important question is whether this time the voices speaking up will finally spark real change, or whether Hollywood will simply move on once the headlines do.